can mute my mic. So I'll mute my mic, and then when you bring me on, then I'll just turn my mic back on.
Oh yeah, mute yourself. That would be a lot easier. Okay. Go here. Sorry, Evo, I gotta minimize you real quick. I love my boy Evo, but it's a little bit more important. And now I'm getting an echo. Get off my screen. Thank you. Okay, now I need to get the Twitter noties out. I hate when Streamlabs automatically like comments. It's annoying. I hate it. Okay. At least I can cut down how many like places I actually send this to, since a lot of people that I'm in Discord with don't really know who you are or anything, so it's only really for the Madden peeps, basically.
That's a new hood order. It's gray and white. You lay it across, it feels like you own the damn thing. Back there? Oh. I thought he was over here. Am I still over here?
What's up, Mark Ant? How you doing?
Oh, he must have went to
Okay, gotta find, there's McMillie. I'm pretty sure she has a, no she does not. Okay, we're gonna put it in Luch's, obviously, as well. Luch is part of the peeps here, so put it there. Think Lauren. Okay, no, I forgot. I can't put it in Lauren's. Miss Rob. Oh, nice hype things there. As soon as we get done with posting these up, we'll go ahead and get our guy PTA right in here. And last one will probably be Up and At It. I feel like those are the only ones that actually have a decent amount of people in them that will know everybody. Okay, so I'm going to have your guys' comments up on the TV the entire time this time around, so that I can make sure that I can see what PTA is doing. Okay, I got 6 people in here. I'm going to throw my glasses on so I can see y'all better. Okay. Thanks for the follow, Fragiles. I think that's how you pronounce that. Okay, guys, so as you can see, we have the Madden franchise in the background. We have PTA Sports taking over the coaching role here. We're just going to send to the end of the season because this first year doesn't really matter. Or we're going to send the regular season. Okay, but I'm going to be interviewing the man known as PTA Sports Pest Analysis, one of the probably the most well-known Giants fans on the platform. We already brainstormed some questions for him. I will check like DMs and such to see if anybody has any good questions there. But he has some time to brainstorm answers as well, give an idea of what he wanted to say. So with that being said, please welcome PTA Sports.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hope everybody's having a great, fantastic, wonderful evening. We are in the building.
Okay, so we have so far Miss Rob, Mark Ant, and a handful of others, I think, kind of shifting in and out. So I guess this will be the first good time for the first warm-up question here. Where did you get the name PTA Sports for your Twitch and Pest Analysis for your YouTube?
So I do, hey, Miss What's going on? How you doing? My stage name when I was a musician was Pestilence. That was a name that was kind of given to me when I was in high school. We had a goofy little, clique, and we referred to ourselves as the Four Horsemen. And so I was referred to as Pestilence. That name kind of stuck, and I always kind of carried that name around. So I did music for a fair amount of time, and then my focus kind of shifted to some other adult life things, but the nickname always stayed. So I started on YouTube, obviously, before moving over to Twitch, and I was trying to think of a name to call my channel. And one day, while having a conversation with somebody about sports, it was kind of a pretty heated debate, and the person I was talking to was like, "Oh yeah, what are you, some kind of an analyst?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's yeah, kind of." And so
Like, that's me,
I chose Pest the Analyst for YouTube, and the name of the show was PTA Sports. PTA standing for Pest the Analyst Sports. So that's kind of the name that I've kind of adopted. I still go by Pestilence. A lot of people call me Pest for short, and so that's where that name came from.
Okay, so I look into everybody's like followage of specifically Fendler, because that's a good point to know when somebody actually like truly entered into the community. Because as you know, we all originated from that stream. So, what made you kind of gravitate towards his stream initially? Did you actually see it while you were scrolling? Did you see it on Twitter, or how did you discover Fendler's stream specifically?
So the Fendler story is actually very interesting because I never knew who Fendler was, right? I knew who some of the bigger Madden streamers were,
DK,
a ScoMo, a Skimbo, a Problem. I knew who those guys were.
Maybe
but I never
DK
heard of
too.
Fendler. And so I remember that this Twitter beef was going on because the whole Madden 21 had just dropped, the whole Fixed Madden franchise thing was going on, and I saw that there was this Twitter beef happening between Fendler and Ryan Moody, and so one day while being on Twitch, I just happened to see that Fendler was in the suggested the little Madden suggested thing, and I was like, Fendler is the guy that's beefing with Brian Moody. So I clicked into his stream, and it's kind of interesting because for some reason I had never been in a stream before, but for some reason I couldn't chat. I couldn't chat in the stream. I don't know why, but I wasn't able to chat in the stream. But I sat there and I watched him for, I don't know, maybe about 30 minutes, just listening to him, and I was kind of hoping that he would talk about what was going on with, I was kind of watching what was going on, and I was like, I'm pretty sure that Fendler was going to probably talk about the situation with Ryan Moody.
PTA, pause for a second.
Yeah.
Warhawks 420, if you're talking about any type of Twitter actual drama or whatever, keep that out of chat, please. I don't want to have chat blow up back and forth with all this stuff. Just a rule here, I don't have it in the rules, but I thought it'd be pretty obvious not to bring that type of stuff in here. It ruins the vibes. So if you want to, you can whisper me about that type of thing, or you can whisper him about that, but those aren't the type of questions I want to ask here. Hold on. Fendler always getting into internet beef. Yeah, he does. He does kind of get into some internet beef, but it's kind of entertaining in some ways to me. But we're not talking about beef here. Besides what PTA brought up. Okay, so with that being said, guys, please keep your questions kind of more towards the community positively, or maybe something you might want to know about PTA that you don't know right now. I'm going to go ahead and give the floor back to him, though. It was kind of just something I wanted to address. Go ahead and continue, PTA.
Okay. So, yeah, I knew he was going to talk about it, so I kind of wanted to hear what he had to say because, I'm a firm believer of hearing sides of the story. And after sitting in his stream, I was like, this guy's not a bad guy. Like, this guy's kind of entertaining. He's funny. He's got a good personality. I think I'll hang out here for a little longer. And a little longer turned into
roughly 11 months.
I was going to say, I actually think I'm getting ready to hit. No, I think I'm at 13 months.
Last I looked, I think it's at 11 because I'm at 15, and I know you came in about 4 months later. So I think it's 11.
I know I have the Super Saiyan Blue Chalice. Let's just say that.
Yeah, we know that.
It might be 11 months. Yeah, and that kind of turned into me, just kind of watching him grow, seeing some of the things that he does, and just kind of enjoying the community. Like that's basically what got me into watching Findler on Twitch.
All right, well that I feel is a good answer there. Okay, so were you streaming before you went into Findler stream, or did you start streaming after?
So, technically, I was streaming before that. However, when I was doing, CFM leagues.
Yeah.
One of the rules in a lot of these 32-man CFM leagues is that you have to stream your games so that people can go back and watch them for any violations or any, questionable,
like trades
play.
and stuff like
and
that.
So, I was streaming, on Twitch under the PTA Sports account, but I was also streaming on YouTube under just a personal account, not the PTA Sports account on YouTube, but just a personal account that I was using just to stream the games. But I wasn't really streaming on Twitch to be a Twitch streamer. It was really just to.
It was just kind of for fun, basically. Games. Right? It was basically like something for fun to do.
Right, yeah, and I'm just, the rules said you have to stream your games, so I would stream my games so that people can come watch. I didn't have an audience.
And it kind of just built from there, basically.
Well, so not necessarily, because at the time I was not streaming with a camera, I was not streaming with a mic. It was just
bare bones.
Just gameplay. Yeah, bare bones gameplay, streaming off of the PlayStation 4, no camera, no mic, no talking to anyone, nothing. It was literally just the game. It wasn't like I had people in the streams. Lots of the times when I was streaming the game, there was nobody watching. Which, I didn't really care about because I was just following the rules of the leagues that I was in. And a little bit after that, after kind of seeing Findler, streaming with the camera and having,
back in the console fen days and all that, I'm pretty sure that was still under was the console fen days.
Yeah, it was console fen. It was OG Findler. I saw him doing that, and I was like, you know what? I mean, I'm already doing stuff on YouTube. I already do live podcasts on YouTube. I'm already used to interacting with live chat. So why don't I, set my PlayStation camera up and do camera and mic streams? And so that's what I started doing. I was streaming off my PlayStation. I had a PlayStation camera because I have PlayStation VR. So I set the camera up. I took my laptop, I'd open up the Twitch chat, and I would stream kind of the same way Findler was streaming, just off of a camera and with a laptop.
That's interesting. That's almost where a lot of us start would be, without a camera, without a mic. Some of us are lucky and we have mics to start, but most of us didn't have cameras. Quick story on my end. I didn't have a camera until a month or two in, and Blue actually sent me his old camera. And so that's the one I'm using to this day, is the one he sent me. And that's, I think, having both really helps people want to get into your chat and actually chat with you and build some type of community around you.
Right.
Okay, well, some guy named
it's crazy
Josh Walker asked, how did I meet PTA? I don't know if I met you in Findler's stream first, but I do remember for a fact we were doing Among Us one night, and I think that's when I actually first started talking to you, was during one of those games.
Yes, that's correct. We started we interacted slightly in Among Us. I'm sorry, in Fiddler's Dream. And we played some Among Us. That was the first time that I had actually talked with you.
Yeah.
But I also remember that you were doing stream teams, and I was like, bro, you got to put me on your stream team. And you put me on your stream team, and then I also remember you were doing Wolfpack Wrestling for a little bit, and you made me and Finland fight for the championship.
Yeah,
So,
I'm planning on bringing that back for those that were in that. I want to kind of wait to see if WWE 2K22 is actually going to be a thing before I restart the universe mode again. I do plan on making a lot more people kind of getting their just basic like profile down first, and then asking them what to add like to their moveset and stuff. But let everyone start at the basics, and then just put in moves and movesets and stuff as I like message them personally about what they want to use. Okay, Josh says you still seem like a chill guy and he likes you. So,
thank you very much. I appreciate that.
And Warhawks, real quick, let me mention something. The message before, I think the message before this one, you did say you thought that's where that was going because of PTA was talking about the beef between two people. I can understand where that thought process would come from, which is why I didn't like do anything more than just explain what this was about. As long as you just keep that in mind, that this isn't a time to bring up beef between two creators or anything like that, because I know there's been a lot of it recently. I think PTA knows there's been a lot of it recently. But
yeah, and if I may,
go ahead.
Listen, y'all. You know, sometimes beefs happen, right? But it's not our jobs to perpetuate that, okay? It's not our jobs to push the envelope on it, okay? You let people handle whatever their situations are, and then we all move on, okay? So like I'm not a guy that's big on beef, okay? I try to be respectful and show love to everyone. I try to be supportive to as many people as I can be, regardless if two people got beef or not, right? You know, in the real world, if two people have an issue, then those two people can fix that issue or not fix that issue, and we can move on with our lives. There's no need to perpetuate beefs, okay? There's no need to talk about beef that doesn't belong to you. If it ain't your beef, don't cook it.
Warhawks, nobody's mad about you bringing it up. I mean, I wanted to clarify that we're not going to talk about that stuff like too much here unless it falls into what we're talking about. But nobody's mad at you here. You wanted a question, and I just let you know that question isn't what this is for, and that's all it is. Nobody's mad at you.
Yeah, no, you're fine.
For real, like the style thing forever ago in the past, all good now. Yeah. This is how I explain it to people when I chat with them on my Twitter about this stuff. I never ask them what's going on just because I want to like contribute to drama or anything like that. It's so I am educated about both sides of what's going on. I never pick a side, but I want to know what's going on, so I'm not just in the dark with it. And that's all I want to do. I want to be informed about what's going on, but I don't want to directly associate with what's going on, if that makes any sense. Thank you. Just wanted to be sure. Okay. Next up, what I wanted to ask you is, were you always, in the New Jersey, New York, whatever area, you live in right now, and what kind of drove you towards being a Giants fan over maybe, say, a team that has a little more consistency, like, say, the Packers or the current, more recently, the Seahawks?
I am old, okay, y'all. This is gonna come.
Yeah, guys, he's like 42 years old or some shit. So
I'm actually only 40. Okay, I'm not that.
I was close, I guessed. Okay.
but I am old. Okay, I became a New York Giants fan in the 80s.
Okay.
And the reason why I became a Giants fan was because it was kind of a family lineage thing, right? I am originally from New Jersey, though I don't live in New Jersey anymore. And my family were New York Giants fans, and so because they were Giants fans, I became a Giants fan. And so, throughout my life, the Giants have had ups and downs, but, the ups have been really, really high ups, right? Like, the ups have been Super Bowls. I have seen every Super Bowl that my team has played in. Okay, and it's five in total that we've played in. We won 4 of them. And so
2 of which against Brady and Belichick, might we add?
Two of which against the Patriots. And so I've just kind of always been a Giants fan. It's always been ingrained in me to be a Giants fan. I've never thought about picking another team. I've never thought about the Giants suck, I'm going to go root for somebody else. I'm a diehard Giants fan. I love the team. I've dedicated a good portion of my life to the team. I'm walking a tightrope here, right? Because I am literally going to get up at about 5 o'clock in the morning tomorrow because I'm going to drive to New Jersey to go to the Giants event that's tomorrow night. So I love my team. I love this team. I will never be anything other than a Giants fan. There are other teams that I like to follow, but I don't cheer for those teams. I cheer for the Giants.
Okay, so first off, thank you, Warhawks, for the 23 bits. I appreciate that. So you explained that road, and I'm gonna go ahead and let you know what I'm into. I've really only been a Chargers fan since basically the year before Phillip Rivers took over. And that was because my dad was kind of the one that was into football, more so. My grandpa was into Cowboys, so I watched them a little bit, but I wasn't really super interested at that point until I moved in with my dad, who liked the Chargers, obviously. So that was kind of my main team. And much like you, I've seen ups and downs. A lot more downs than ups in our case, though. We have decent, seasonal, okay seasonal success and some playoff success, but obviously we've never reached a bowl yet. I do believe that Herbert will be the one that breaks that streak and at least get us to one. Whether he wins one for us is completely unknown still. But I do believe he has the tools to at least take us to one.
I've actually watched the Chargers a lot. I used to live in San Diego. I've actually been in the old Qualcomm Stadium and have seen the Chargers play. And so I have a lot of friends who are Chargers fans. I kind of feel bad for the organization just based off of, they always seem to have been snake bitten. And you'll have this Chargers team, and it's just like, this team could be the team, and then something always happens. Something always happens to just derail the momentum. But Herbert could be the guy. I've always liked Justin Herbert, even in college. I was kind of hoping that maybe he would become a Giant. This is before Daniel Jones.
I think even after Daniel Jones, you're really kind of like, God damn it, couldn't we wait one more year and maybe get someone like this guy instead?
You have to say that again, K-Couch. You broke up a little bit there.
I said, even after Daniel Jones, was drafted, even now you're probably like, I wish we waited at least maybe an extra year because maybe you could have had a shot at someone like Tua or... Because Tua may not be, looking the best, but I think he's a smidge better than Daniel Jones in some aspects, or maybe purposely tank and pick up someone like Joe Burrow, the year he came out. And, I don't know if their guys' offensive line situation's better than the Bengals, but, I think 1 year later, or maybe even 1 year earlier, would have been perfect for you guys to draft a quarterback, but, unfortunately, you guys are at least stuck with Daniel Jones for at least 1 or 2 more years. Hopefully, he makes the proper steps to where he can, take control of the offense a little bit more and make that division a little more competitive. But I do feel like if Daniel Jones was given maybe a slightly better offensive line the last couple seasons, and maybe if Eli retired maybe 1 year earlier and he had that extra year, he might have been able to maybe win some people over, but I feel like it's definitely a make or break year for him.
I agree. Now, I won't necessarily say that I was I was unhappy players that I wanted instead of him.
I don't know if you watch him, but Bengal actually was the same way. He was like, "Why the fuck did we draft this guy for?"
Yes, yeah, yes. So I was not happy with the draft pick. However, I've watched a lot of film on him. I've watched him kind of grow, in his professional career. I see traits that I like. I see potential that is there. But this is and I've said this on my YouTube channel. This is Daniel Jones's make or break year. Like, this is it. Just like he's got to shit or get off the pot. And if he doesn't, he's going to probably be gone. And I won't feel bad. I won't be angry. I'm one of those fans where I don't get attached to players because players can be gone tomorrow. Okay?
Yeah.
Like, so like if he's not the guy, it is what it is. We'll move on and we'll try to figure out who is the guy. So,
And
I mean, that's
a bit of a controversial opinion maybe on Eli is Eli was never really a great quarterback. He just happened to be really good at getting it done when it mattered, which sometimes is all you really need to be even a good quarterback,
Absolutely. Absolutely. I can agree with that.
Even his two Super Bowl seasons, I believe one was at 500, and I don't know if the other one surpassed that or not, but he turned it on during the playoffs.
They were both of those years in the Super Bowl. They were 9-7. They barely got into the playoffs. They had to fight through the wild card and all the way to the Super Bowl. And it was just Eli Manning kind of being clutch when it mattered most.
Okay, so you have someone like Eli Manning, right? He definitely has some characteristics you like about him as a player, obviously. Obviously, he's pretty clutch. But then you look at the rest of the division, and, like, basically from Eli up until now, you've seen Dak and, Romo leading the Cowboys for the entirety of that time, basically. You see the Eagles add people like Donovan McNabb and Carson Wentz, and now Jalen Hurts is taking over. And then you have Washington that hasn't really found a stable quarterback since Kirk Cousins. Was there any point where you started the season and you knew you weren't going to win that division, but you were still confident you could make it competitive, maybe?
Every year. Kick-outs, every year. Every year.
It's a consecutive thing with that division specifically that you never know who's going to come out of it on top.
Right.
So
right. Every year I go into that year saying to myself, I don't think this is the year. Like, I don't think this is the year for this team. So over the course of, since we won our last Super Bowl, there's never been a year where I was like, this is our year. Like, not even this year. Like, I never feel comfortable, with the Giants in regards to the division. I never know what's going to happen in this division. It's always a coin flip. And that can be said for any of the teams in the NFC East. Like, who's good and who's bad? I don't know. I really don't know.
It's definitely one of the biggest questions in every year is who's going to win this division. And I feel like with how the AFC West specifically is going, it could be another at least 3-team type of, race, probably starting next season once maybe the Broncos figure out their quarterback situation. But, like, the two most, like, easily the hardest divisions to win in football is the NFC East and the NFC West. I feel like those two are the hardest divisions to really predict a winner in, because of just, for the NFC East or West, obviously, it's more of because of the the high quality players that are on each team. Whereas with the NFC East, it's who the hell doesn't get bit by the injury bug, who plays up the potential, and all that type of stuff leads more into the NFC East side. And I think that's what makes them kind of interesting to watch every season. Those specific, two divisions are very fun to try to keep track of. And then you have, you have the NFC North, which is almost always going to be a 2-team race, Green Bay and somebody else.
Right.
And then you have like the AFC East, which was obviously, the Patriots division to lose up until last season when it was the Bills to, win.
Right,
And
right.
that will definitely be interesting to see is will these signings be enough to get the Patriots back in to the playoffs or to win their division? I think that it could be. But I also don't think it will be if Cam Newton himself doesn't step up. Because we know Cam has had the talent. We know he has the drive to keep going. But he needed to, during the offseason specifically, he needs to figure out if his arm talent is still there, specifically his arm strength. Because that's been like his biggest dagger to how well he does is ever since I think it was the year after the Super Bowl. Ever since that year, his production's just dipped, and you can tell his arm from year to year. It feels like it's just getting worse.
Right. Yeah.
What's up, Jeffrey Short?
I don't know what's going on with Cam Newton. I've always been kind of a fan of him, of his. I've always liked to watch him play. Something's missing. Something's not there, and it could have been, losing that Super Bowl kind of affected his mentality. Might have made him lose a little bit of that swagger and that confidence that he's had, because he's never been the same since. I totally agree with that. And I do hope that being in New England, being involved in a program that's a proven winner, helps. But who knows? Because Mac Jones is sitting there looming in the background, and if Cam's not getting it done, Mac Jones is probably going to play. So it's a weird situation with New England. But I do enjoy watching these divisions that don't necessarily have a runaway winner. Because, like you said, they're fun to keep track of. They're fun to just kind of see, okay, what's the math? Who needs to win what games in order to make it? Who's on the verge of getting eliminated? What do they have to do? Like that stuff's really interesting, and I always enjoy seeing like different teams be in the playoffs, different teams in the Super Bowl. Like I like that. I like for it to always be a coin flip as to who's going to win.
Yeah, that's kind of one of my favorite things about those divisions. Now, leading from that on to my next question now. So, you were obviously a football player in some degree. I believe you said high school, and did you go to do so in college too?
I played high school. I played in some semi-pro military leagues, and then I stopped playing because I was getting too old, and I started coaching.
Okay, so that's a pretty average trajectory, I think, for players to go on. They play for a bit until they can't, and then they kind of coach to some degree, or maybe some of them decide to be an analyst for something.
Right.
Which one of the things that I find that draw people to your type of channels specifically is that you are not specifically a variety streamer. I won't quite call it that yet because I'm pretty sure you're still primarily a Madden guy. But
yes.
You definitely have the same energy no matter what game you go into, and that definitely draws people to you. Where do you get that energy from? I'm sure there's some days where it's a little bit more difficult to boot up, but there has to be some switch that you flip to get that type of energy, right?
I mean, I don't know. To be completely honest with you, I have no idea where the energy comes from. Maybe it's the rush of performing, because I've always enjoyed the performance aspect of things as a musician. I've always hated the process of making music, but I always loved getting on stage and performing. So that's probably where the energy comes from. It's just the love of the performance.
So
I
it's,
just
in a football term, I think it might be a football term, but it's like when the lights shine the brightest is when your energy kind of ups itself, right?
right.
And it's maybe like an unconscious thing that just pops as soon as like you hit that live button. It just, boom, just bursts
it
forward.
just shows up. Yes, it just shows up, and it was always the same way with me, like with football as well. Like, I'd be relaxed, I'd be calm, I'd be cool. I'm typically, believe it or not, a very quiet to myself guy. I prefer to be alone than to be in a crowd of people. But the moment I put those pads on, the moment I put that helmet on, something just switched. And when the ref blew the whistle and it was time to go, there was just a change in me. It just something happened, and it was time to go and perform. So like that's kind of the same way that I am now. I don't want to like kind of make it seem like when the camera's not on, when the lights aren't on, I'm just sitting in a corner, quiet. My wife and I, we talk a lot, and we're always kind of loud and joke and whatnot. But it's just overall, like I tend to be more of a quiet to myself kind of a person. And then when the lights turn on, it's time to go. Like and the energy just arrives. It's just the enjoyment of performing.
I think that's actually a pretty similar answer most people would give in those type of situations. Like when I stream, I'm a pretty. You've been in here more than enough times. I'm a pretty laid back. I have bursts of just energy here and there and excitement and whatnot, but I like to be like a mixed bag, whether I'm on or off stream, and I feel like that's what makes people intrigued with my stream specifically. And that's kind of why I wanted to be a variety streamer. I like to shift around games. I like to give somebody something new every day. And I feel like that's what separates me a little bit from some of the other streamers in like the community, you know? And obviously that's not me saying I'm better than anybody else because I mean if you can watch some of my VODs back, I make it exponentially clear that I'm not anywhere near as good as some other streamers are. But I feel like I put a lot of myself into streams without really having to try to.
Right. No, I understand what you're saying.
Okay, so
I totally understand.
my next question is this community has always obviously kind of been building since April of 2020 specifically when kind of COVID specifically hit us, right? So,
Yep.
when you think the community now, like as it stands at this moment, not as streamers, not as those type of things, but just as people, who are the first like 10 people you think of when you're talking about this community? What 10 names is like do you mention when you like talk about this to people who don't stream?
It's really funny because I did a video on my YouTube channel where I was talking about small streamers specifically. And so some of the names that popped in my head as I was talking, were like a Texas Rafe, a K Couch,
Mm-hmm.
Mick Millie, um, a Big Evo, a Fallen One the King, a Marco Madness, um, Findler obviously pops up, because Findler was kind of
He's
the
just kind of
acorn
like
that's
the godfather of the
yeah,
community in a way.
Findler was kind of the acorn that grew this tree. So obviously a Findler, a trumpet monkey, a up and atom, a loosh. I mean, I can kind of go on because I pay attention, right?
Yeah,
I don't call myself pest the analyst for nothing. I pay attention and I analyze
you're you're like
things.
a you're not just a lurker, you're like an observer is more what
Yeah,
you
I'm
do.
not. Listen. I'm not. I don't lurk.
You observe
I
and you yell.
I I listen. I watch what everyone is doing. Okay, I pay very specific attention to what everyone in this community is doing. Everybody that streams and a lot of people that don't, and they just sit in the chat. I observe what everybody is doing because I am the type of person where I learn from watching and doing. Okay, so a lot of my stream, and I'm sure we're going to kind of get into this, about my stream and the directions I go in my stream.
Yeah, that'll be a little bit later.
But a lot of my stream, a lot of what I do when I am streaming is based off of what I see around Twitch. It's based off of what do I see people do that works? What do I see people do that doesn't? What do I see that's trending? Because I don't want to be doing the trendy thing. What am I not seeing enough of, so that way I can try to present something that's not being done, so I'm not a carbon copy of someone. I watch everyone, and I pay great attention to all of the things that they do. I take a lot of mental notes, and I ingest a lot of this content, and that's not just Twitch. That's also YouTube. That's also Twitter, TikTok. I watch a lot of stuff just to get an understanding. So I don't like to even classify myself as a lurker, even though I may not be being super active in the chat. I'm watching and I'm listening and I'm absorbing.
So, like, to simplify that into a bit of a more digestible cube here, basically what you like to do is you go through directory, you go through, like, what people are doing, and you don't want to, you know the proper way that most people say to grow is to do the trendy things, but you want to grow your way specifically, so you do the less trendy things.
Correct.
And you observe what others do, and I'm sure if anybody in the community would ask you for any type of input or, like, advice on how they might be able to help themselves grow a little bit more too, you're one of those type of people, I feel like, that would definitely give the opposite advice to what everyone else is doing, because you specifically want to grow in a different way, and maybe you want to see other people maybe grow a little bit differently too.
Yeah, I mean, and that's not a dig at anyone, by the way.
Yeah,
Like,
obviously that's not like, oh, well, you guys are
Yeah.
fucking monkeys or whatever doing the same shit.
No,
No, that's not what it's about.
No, that's not a dig at anybody. People have asked me, for my input on their streams, my input on what they're doing, and first and foremost, I have to let them know that I'm going to be brutally honest, okay? Because
I think I remember that. An example, I think I sent you one of my Chargers franchise videos, and it was either you or RoboTeach. One of you guys I sent it to, and y'all said the exact thing you said, like, brutally honest. And I know one of the things RoboTeach said was, because this was when they were first moving to Vegas, not to call them Oakland, right? And I believe my response was, you can pull the Raiders out of Oakland, but you can't pull Oakland out of the Raiders. You know, I'm obviously a Chargers fan, so I will take my digs at the Raiders when I have a chance to.
Right.
But following along that line a little bit more. So, there are obviously streamers, Up and Adam, Luch, Murphy D, Fendler, Johnny Madden. There's a lot of big names in this community. There's a lot of, in a sense, there's a lot of alpha males rolling around in the community a little bit. Not, obviously, like some of the names I mentioned, not so much, but people like Johnny Madden, Fendler. There's some big, like, alpha male type personalities in this community, for sure. And then there are, like, the guys that are a little bit lower down, that are more like, me would be a good example, Fritzy, Jay Ruiz. We're big supporters in the community. And then there's, like, kind of the people in between the two that are kind of a little bit of both. I wonder where you personally would rank yourself amongst that, like, those classifications.
I'm pest the analyst. That's who I am.
You're in a, like, instead of being in the big pyramid, like, everyone's seen the Triforce, I'm sure. You're that little dark spot in the middle. You're just kind of there.
Like I don't wanna listen. I don't wanna be the alpha male, right? I don't want to be the quiet supporter. I don't want to be the person in the middle. I just want to be me, right? I want to do what's organic to me, and I want to have fun while I'm doing it. And I feel like a lot of streamers lose that, right? Because they start the stream. They don't get traction because they don't understand that this is a marathon and not a sprint. So
and then they try to kind of shift themselves into something they're not.
Yep,
which doesn't help either.
Right, and
welcome the animal to the chat. How are you doing, sir?
Animal, what's going on? How you doing? So yeah, like I just want to be. I just want to be me, right? I want to be organic to myself. I want to do things that are fun to me. I want to be entertaining, right? Because I want people to come and I want people to sit and watch me do whatever it is I'm doing on stream that day and interact with me. But I mean, like, to ask me to classify myself somewhere within that range, I kind of can't because I don't approach life in that way, right? I don't approach life in a manner of having to be what is popular or having to be what is marketable or having to be what is whatever the other phrase you want to throw in there. Like I've never approached my life like that. I've always approached my life as be who you are. Right, because who you are is better than who everybody else is. Right, like that's like, and it doesn't mean I'm better than everyone else, but it means that I'm the only pesty analyst that there could ever be. Okay, you are the only K-Couch that could ever be. There's only one animal. There's only one Rob Zero. There's only
one Jeffrey Short, Laser Beam, Mark Ant.
Right. There's only one of you. Okay, be that person. Don't focus on trying to be something other than what you are. Because as long as you are genuine and as long as you are real and inviting as a streamer, people will show up, and it may take a while. That's okay. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that.
That's like, that falls under, and by the way, that's the exact type of answer I actually expected from you. I almost knew what your answer was going to be before I asked it. But that's going to be one of the questions I'm probably going to ask everybody on the that I bring on here, because it helps me know how their mind works,
Right.
And that's something that I like to know when I'm in a streamer's chat. Like, okay, so they think this way, but can they back up what they think?
Right.
And you obviously can easily back up what you think because you're just you. You don't have to try to. It just happens.
For me, it's so easy to be pesty analyst because it's who I am. Now, obviously, because the camera is on and the lights are bright, I'm turned up. My volume is turned up in terms of my personality, right? And you want to do that, okay? It would be impossible for me to have the kind of energy that I have on stream every day, 24 hours a day. I'd be exhausted.
Absolutely not. You cannot do a subathon that way. You can't.
Yeah, no, I will never do a subathon. It will never happen.
I don't know. A lot of other people have said that, and they've ended up having to do it. So, everyone, clip this, guys, and make sure if he ever does one, you share it to him, and you're like, didn't you say you wouldn't do that? Just to poke at you a little bit.
There will never be a PTA Sports subathon. It will never, ever happen. Okay?
All right, he seems pretty confident, guys. Let's actually not clip this.
And here's the thing. The only way that I would be involved in something like that is if it was with a company of some sort, right? But there will never be a solely PTA Sports subathon. I will never do one. Never. It's never going to happen.
Yeah, like that's a good thing. I feel like a lot of people, like, they've seen people be very successful with those subathons. Obviously, to name one would be Fendler's that went on for like 12 fucking days.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing
Nobody
that.
wakes up and thinks I want to spend 12 hours or 12 days streaming. Nobody thinks that. And
No,
I think that's what
no,
makes subathons something that people do find some appeal in. I, for one, probably will never do one either. Um,
no.
because
Yeah.
frankly, I've seen what this community does when anyone does a subathon, and I don't want any of that.
That's
That's
like inviting someone to kick you in the junk 17 times in a row. Like,
And we've warned everybody who said, "Oh, I'm going to do a subathon." I literally warned them. Have you not seen what this community does without there being an incentive for them?
yeah, like no, I'm not gonna do one. No, it's not gonna happen.
Okay,
It will
so
not happen.
you have spoken. Okay, so real quick, I want to direct you to the stream's screen here for a second. We made some signings while I was talking to you.
Okay.
We simulated the draft, so I didn't pick nobody.
Okay.
The second year is when I'm actually going to have more control over what happens. This first year was kind of just because. So as you can see, the lines, basically everything's more or less the same here, except for this wide receiver right here, Mr. Zach Pascal.
Okay.
He always comes out as a superstar in free agency, which is pretty cool. And so I almost always pick him up when I see him there, unless like I have a team like say the Bucks that don't actually need a third string receiver.
Okay.
But a team like the Giants definitely do. Obviously Sterling Shepard's pretty good, but Golden Tate's pretty old, so you need someone to step into that spot. And then you have Darius Slayton too. So obviously nothing really here besides this rookie here that was drafted by the computer. Shockingly, though, they didn't draft a quarterback, and that's weird to me, because like they almost always do when I do these sim things. So it's pretty weird.
EA apparently believes in Daniel Jones.
Apparently they do. We picked
they
up
don't. He's so bad. He's so bad, man.
Randy Beck was drafted, so he's hidden. I'm just gonna see what his dev is right now, because like I'm probably not gonna play these games. We're probably just gonna watch some while we're talking. But okay, star dev, that's a lineman, so you kind of expect that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I feel like that's what kind of sucks, because they made linemen and D linemen like really hard to develop in this game if they don't have star. Like if they don't have star, they don't go up much at all overall wise. And that's why you kind of have to sign them until they're basically dragged into the mud, because you can't find replacements for them very easily. And I hope they fix some of that in Madden 22.
Definitely. Yeah. One thing that I've noticed in Madden 21 is when you're looking at interior defensive linemen, there's always going to be a shitload of them in the draft, right? There's
almost
always a shitload of them
always.
in the draft. But offensive linemen are a dime a dozen. Like you're really not going to find a lot of really good offensive linemen, and that's a little tough. And they don't give them, dev upgrade opportunities. Again, as you said, I hope that this stuff is fixed in 22. I'm going to play so much CFM in 22, so I'll know relatively quickly how this is going to work.
Like the thing that I find like really bad is a YouTuber, I believe it was RBT or maybe Bengal. One of those two actually ran an experiment where they ran through a couple of drafts, and there are only 20 hidden dev players in a draft class. And that's just insane to me because of the amount of talent we've seen in like the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's terrible. That's terrible. Now, supposedly they fixed after 22. We'll see.
We'll see, because like you can't look at a draft class and be like, there's only 20 good players here, because most of the time, if we're being super honest, sometimes the first rounders don't pan out.
Right.
Like last year's draft, right? Joe Burrow, we're going to give a pass to because he was obviously injured for like half the year. But Tua, he had a high stock and he didn't really live up to it year one. When he took the reins, the offense didn't look terrible, but they didn't look good either. Then you have like Justin Herbert's the flip. He wasn't thought to have done anything at all, and what does he do instead? He wins Rookie of the Year. There's more, however, I feel there are a lot more players in a draft that do next to nothing or are kind of just there for depth. But with like late round hits, someone like Dak Prescott, I know he's in your division, but Dak Prescott was a really good late round get.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like, obviously, no one has to talk about Tom Brady here. We know, okay.
That only happened once. Okay, that's not something that happens very often.
Yeah, that doesn't happen very often at all. Okay, so real quick, let me run over who we got before I get to the next question. So, we signed Kevin King strictly because I kind of just wanted to make sure there was another star dev player on here next to Bradbury. And Bradbury is actually shockingly a little bit older than I expected him to be. Like, I don't see Bradbury as 28. I honestly thought, I knew he spent like a year, now I know it's more than a year, in Carolina. I literally thought this guy was like 26, 25.
No. Bradbury is a little bit older, because he was with Carolina for, was it 4 years, 5 years?
Something like that. Oh, hold on, let me look at stats because I'm pretty sure Bradbury was signed this offseason. So.
Yes.
Yeah, 4 years in Carolina. I think it's because like Carolina's defense wasn't really known for their secondary.
No, I mean, and James Bradbury was really the only person on Carolina's defense at the time, and this was after Josh Norman left and went to Washington. So Bradbury ended up having to kind of step against.
like mix.
Right.
I don't know if
Right,
you've
so-
watched Mr. Hurricane before.
I do. I watch Mr. Hurricane a lot.
I was watching his. I've watched every one of his franchise modes. So like his ones where he doesn't play the games. I've been watching his ones where he rebuilds them and just sims the games and sometimes watches them.
Yeah.
And
I watch those
like
all the time.
his Texans franchise, which just concluded, I think yesterday.
I think so. Yeah. His
It was
last
yesterday
video,
or the
I saw
day
it, that's
before.
really cool.
And it took him forever to get his game plan right. And it's
Yeah.
because of how Madden is. Like, he could shift things and it'll work for like half a season and it'll suck again. And that's one of the things that someone like you and a few other people that are a bit bigger names, like I think Mac 10 is one, or Pat 10 or something like that. He makes a lot of sliders that I know of.
Matt 10, yes.
Yeah.
I follow Matt 10 and I pay attention to what he does. He's a genius when it comes
Yeah,
to
he
sliders.
is. I've noticed that, like, when I was playing, I think it was Madden 18 or 19, where, like, the difficulties were, like, super stupid. That's when I first started using his sliders, because they evened out the game a little bit. Because I don't know if you remember when Frostbite first took over, but All Pro felt like Ultra, like, Madden in terms of difficulty.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
you could not throw a pass within, like, 10 feet of any defender without them just picking it off.
Yes.
And
yes. So a lot of times I'll grab Matt 10 sliders at the beginning of the Madden cycle.
and then adjust them.
And I will adjust as I see fit. So that's a lot of times that's what I'm doing, especially because I am running a 32 user CFM. So I want my sliders to be as good as possible. We will literally spend the first month of Madden 22 beta testing CFM. That is no bullshit. I will literally spend the first 30 days of Madden 22 beta testing CFM to get everything as perfect as I can get it.
And one of the things I feel like that makes it difficult when you're doing it in like a 32 user CFM type of setting is, like, obviously you're the commissioner of that league. So you kind of have to hear feedback from other people that might help you adjust the sliders a little bit better if there's like a consistent problem, right?
Yes.
So like run game, let's just use that as an example. Run game is something that is very difficult to tune to where you can get a decently consistent like type of outcome to it.
Right. Well, we have an area in our Discord that is specific to league feedback. So if and I tell my users, hey, listen, if you have a complaint, put it in league feedback. It does not mean that I'm going to change it right away, but if I see a trend of a lot of people complaining about the same thing, then I know something's wrong and we can fix it.
Yeah. Okay, so another question, since we're on the topic of Madden 22. Is there any content that we can expect to come to your YouTube channel specifically when it comes to Madden 22 at any point in like the first couple months?
Yes. So what I will do is when I do my stream where I'm going over settings and sliders and whatnot, I will capture that and I will put that on my YouTube channel. A series that I am going to begin will be a personal New York Giants rebuild. I will put because I typically will stream for three to 4 hours for my rebuild, for my Giants rebuild, and it's a slow rebuild. I play about 8 games each season. So kind of in the same vein of what Mr. Hurricane is doing, I'm going to be doing that, but it's going to be specifically for the New York Giants because my YouTube page is a New York Giants YouTube page. So that will be popping up. I will also probably put up some stream highlights. Per week I'll probably do like some content where I will capture the best moments of the week and just kind of put that up on my YouTube channel as well, just so that people, because there's a lot of people who are subscribed to my YouTube channel that they know that I'm on Twitch, but they don't know that they should be on my Twitch looking at me streaming. So I would like to kind of pull some of that audience from YouTube to my Twitch channel, just so that they can come and be involved, especially because there's going to be multiple CFM leagues that I'm going to be in where I'm going to be utilizing the Giants. So,
Yeah.
they're going to get multiple Giants rebuilds. They're not going to be the same because I'm not going to be able to do the same stuff all the time.
Okay, so with like my YouTube and like stuff, obviously like Twitch, I'm gonna have the stream team is basically going to be the main thing I'm doing. I'm thinking of doing like once a week, maybe twice a week, doing a couple of the games on stream. And then for like the YouTube stuff, I'm thinking of doing, obviously, much like what you're doing with the Giants, I'm going to be doing that with the Chargers. And I placed a poll out, and I'm actually going to be doing either the Jets or the Eagles as a secondary rebuild of like an actual challenge, right?
Okay.
And then I'm going to be doing a TikTok franchise, much like I started, but then kind of fizzled out. It's going to be a like a pink slips.
Okay, yeah, I've seen a pink slip rebuild.
What's up, Laserbeam? And I'm sure you saw that pink slip rebuild. I'm assuming through C4, if I had to guess.
Yes, I have seen C4 do pink slip rebuilds. Those are cool to watch.
They are a lot of fun. Okay, so we actually, obviously, Laserbeam just entered the chat here. I don't know if he did a laser raid or anything because I can't see that in my view, but so he's here. So while he's here, I feel like I want to give you that opportunity. Tell us, what was your thought on the helmet catch?
My goodness, the helmet catch. So I remember exactly where I was at. Okay, at the time I was living in Fort Worth, Texas. I was in my house. I owned a home in Fort Worth, for a little bit before I sold it. But I was in my house, in my living room, sitting on the couch. I had been sitting in that living room pretty much the entire day. Okay, watching all of the coverage on the Super Bowl. Not feeling very good about the Giants' chances, to be completely honest. We're getting ready to play this undefeated team. They are breaking records every single week, and
how confident were you heading into that game, real quick, while we're talking about it? How confident were you?
Not confident at all.
You were like, we're going to get snapped up and down that field all day.
Listen, I went into that Sunday saying to myself, at least the Giants made the Super Bowl.
Like you were already you were already like in your head, like this is going to be the next, massacre at the Meadowlands or something. Like
this is going to be the 2000 Super Bowl all over again when the Ravens beat the crap out of the Giants. That was how I went into it. It was just like,
so.
This is.
The result was definitely very shocking, even for Giants fans, I'm sure.
Yes. So I remember the play. Okay. And it's really funny because on my wall behind me, and you'll when next time I stream, you'll be able to see it. On my wall behind me is a framed autographed picture of Eli Manning breaking out of that sack. Okay, that's my prized possession. It's on my wall, literally. Okay.
Yeah.
I remember when Eli Manning, dropped back. He's looking, and the entire New England defensive line surrounds him, and I remember going, no. And then suddenly Eli Manning breaks out of it, and I'm like, what? And then he throws the ball up, and I yelled, no, again, because I just knew that he was getting ready to throw an interception.
Like in your head, as soon as he let that ball go, you can envision a Patriot player just snatching it out of the air.
Yes, I was just like, that's a pick. So I'm like, no. He throws the ball up in the air, okay? Manningham comes down with it. I'm sorry, that wasn't Manningham. That was David Tyree. David Tyree, because Manningham was the second Super Bowl. So David Tyree comes down with the ball, and I remember yelling, is that a catch? And they showed the replay, and I saw that he pinned it to his helmet, grabbed it with his second hand, and kept the ball from hitting the ground. And I went, that's a catch! And I remember after that I said, we're winning this fucking game. Like, I yelled it out. We're winning this fucking game because
I can see that,
for us to make a play like that, it's our night. It was our night. So I remember yelling. We're winning this game, and then a few plays later, fade to the back of the end zone, touchdown, and we win the game. So that was a very special moment for me as a Giants fan because of the stakes. The stakes in that game were high. We're playing probably one of the greatest teams, in terms of roster, in terms of performance. We're playing one of the greatest teams in the history of the league, and we beat them to win a Super Bowl. And I know, I'm sorry, Laser Beam. I know it hurts to relive this. To relive this moment. I know that it hurts.
Okay, so
and I apologize, but listen, y'all won a lot of Super Bowls, okay? Like y'all won a whole lot of Super Bowls. So what's 2 Super Bowls, right? What's 2?
Okay, so I have a very good question. You analyze a lot. You obviously watch a lot of football, I'm sure. You have a lot of football knowledge. So, if you were to pin that 2007 Patriots team, and you were to put them up against the 2019 Chiefs or the Packers' last Super Bowl run, that team, what are the chances that that New England team loses to one of those teams?
So, man, that's such a difficult question to answer, right?
It's kind of like a warping of like the timeline, so it's kind of hard to answer. I know.
Like these are those Marvel what if kind of questions. I'm going to be completely honest. That Chiefs team that won the Super Bowl was OP as hell. Okay. I don't know if that Patriots team beats that Chiefs team.
I think that if you watch the Patriots defense, like in 2007, and most of the time they were on top, right? Their defense didn't have a lot of speed on the back end. And I feel like that's what would absolutely destroy them against that Chiefs team.
Right.
Because you can't cover Tyreek and Coleman and Kelsey. You can't cover them all with slow corners.
Too much speed. It's too much speed on that team. And then you have someone as talented as Patrick Mahomes at the helm. Like, that's just scary.
Hey, what's up, Lane Day?
That's scary.
Yeah. When you gotta deal with someone like Patrick Mahomes or, I'm not gonna say Lamar Jackson, not because I'm knocking him because he's a running back, blah blah blah, but because I don't find his improvisational skills that good not because of him, but because of the talent around him.
Right.
Maybe that changes this year. Who knows? But I feel like Mahomes, Wilson, Rodgers, when you think of people who are very good at improvisation, those are the first 3 names that come to my mind because they're so fucking good at it. We ready for we are ready for Madden Lane Day.
So ready. So ready for Madden.
So we have when we think of this community too, it started out as, obviously you weren't here from the very, 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 very start, but you were here pretty early on still. This community started as a 30-person group of people basically. And then we started branching out, bringing in more people, helping people hit affiliate. Then they kind of just joined because, that's just the way it goes. Now we go from 30 people to, I feel like there's at least 200 to 300 people in this community now, it feels like. If not more.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Now, what would you say, if you had to describe this community and not use the word generosity, mind you, in 3 words, what 3 words would you use?
Just 3?
Just 3. No, I'll give you 5. I'll give you 5.
I only need 4.
Alright, give me 4.
Crazy sons of bitches.
Okay, I wasn't thinking you were going to go a phrase there, but that does fit us quite well.
Crazy sons of bitches. Listen, there's a reason why I have called my audience PTA Sports is crazy sons of bitches because, um, and it's not crazy in a bad way. It's just we are fanatics for each other. Like we are fanatics for each other, and I think that's refreshing. I think that's just kind of an awesome thing to be a part of. And so, like that's the biggest reason why I refer to my chat as the crazy sons of bitches. It's the reason why. Hold on a second. Let me find it. It's the reason why I have this. It's the reason why I have this emote because that's what I when I think of this community, man, we're all just a bunch of crazy sons of bitches who just decided that, you know what, we're going to take over this platform, and we're on our way. I feel like we are on our way.
I feel like the words I can use to describe the community, without using generosity or maybe any synonym. You know what word I'm fucking gonna use. Is we're very obviously first word family, because we all kind of became that second family when we couldn't see our actual families.
Yes, true.
And most of us would see each other every day, rather it be in like Fendler's stream or like Adams, Luch's, Murphy's. Like we'd start all up in one chat, most of the time Fendler's, and then we'd kind of branch out, but we'd constantly run into each other, and we'd always want to know how everyone's doing,
Yes.
And it was never like, there was obviously some debacles between a few people. There were some arguments. There always is going to be, but
that's how family works, man.
The community has always been very strong, even with. Obviously, I'm going to bring it up by name alone. I'm going to call it the Civil War that was going on like a month ago. And
yes.
You know what I'm talking about, so I'm not going to go into it.
Yes,
but that specific thing would rip most communities apart. And this one has stayed basically together even through that. And that, I feel, really speaks volumes about our community against maybe a few others. And that's honestly why I think we're all very proud to be part of it, and why we continue to bring members into it, because we know what we're bringing them into.
Right.
And second word that I would use is one you used quite a few times, genuine. We're all pretty genuinely, like, good people, and we show our emotions a lot of the time when we stream. We genuinely care about each other as much as people who have never met each other face to face could possibly, care about one another. Because, like, obviously we've all seen each other's faces for the most part, but we've never, like, talked in person to each other before.
Right.
But we all have formed a very good bond with one another despite that. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
For example, I'd bring any of you to, like, a social gathering or to, like, a reunion with family members or whatever, and I don't think any of you would disappoint or, cause any type of disturbances there, that would negatively affect whatever's going on. And that, I feel like, is another thing that separates the community so much, is just that level of respect between each other.
Right. I agree with that.
I agree. Hey, RoboTeach, thanks for the tab, my friend. Third word, and I'm only going to use 3, I'm not going to use 5. The third word that I would use to accurately represent this community would be caring. We are very caring, not just about each other, but to even streamers who are part of it.
Right.
And those characteristics to find in a community of people who largely don't know each other very well in terms of in person is one of the things that puts us well above the rest, I feel. Because, you know,
I can agree, yeah.
it's easy to keep a community kind of in check when it's small. You know, when we started out at that 30, it was very easy. But we're sitting here at hundreds, at minimum hundreds. And we all are very cordial with one another. We're all very, you know, we all genuinely care about what the other ones are doing. I mean, God, do I have to, like, obviously what we did for Fendler.
Yeah.
What we did for Evo when he needed that new chair.
Yep.
There are a lot of people that when they put their goals out there and when they genuinely need that help, this community doesn't even think twice. Like, Evo's, like, I don't know how much you've heard about Evo's thing, but
Yeah, I know. No, I know.
it
I
took,
know
what,
about it.
4 hours for him to get the money he needed for a chair because of how good this community is to one another.
Yeah, I watched. I saw that happen. I saw that happen, and I was just like, "Wow, that's just amazing."
This, another, like, a phrase that I'd use to, you have your phrase of crazy son bitches. My phrase that would accurately, you know, in my version of it, accurately describe this community is being genuine for the sake of being, like, legitimate with everybody. And
Yes.
being kind for the sake of being kind, not to have any ulterior motives.
Right. Yes. I completely agree with that. You know, I've always loved that about this community. That, like, no one is expecting anything. No one wants anything from anybody. You know. I can remember when Findler Findler did his he did a kind of a giveaway. It was kind of based on follows, and he was like, "Hey, I'm gonna give $50 to, you know, to somebody once we hit a certain amount of subscribers." And I remember immediately reaching out to him and saying, "I'm going to match your 50." Um,
Yeah.
you know, just because, you know, it's like, yo, this community is fucking awesome, and I wanna help this community, and I wanna help Findler. You know,
And
not because I thought it was going to, you know, help me. I wasn't even thinking about Twitch streaming at that point in
yeah,
time, right? I wasn't a Twitch streamer,
this
right? Even though I streamed on Twitch because I was streaming my CFM games, I was not a Twitch streamer at that point. So it wasn't like, if I do this for Findler, he'll take care of me later. It was just, yo, this community's cool as shit. I wanna help, and I want to be a part of this community. So that's why I immediately reached out and said, I'm gonna match your 50. So when you guys hit when you guys hit this number, I'm matching Findler's 50. So now it's 100, and you
Yeah.
know, I thought that was cool as hell.
another, like, little phrase that I just thought of too, and I should have said this the first time, but it slipped my mind when I was talking. This community has a very, in the best possible way, infectious personality about it.
Yeah, it is. It's very infectious.
Like, you go in and you're like, nah, I'll never be like these. Like, some people have obviously thought of, oh yeah, these guys are awesome, but I don't think I can ever, like, match with them or, you know, mesh or whatever. And then most of them end up sticking around. And, you know, me, for example, I first stumbled upon, you know, Fendler, Up and Adam, some of these other guys. I've been in their, like, chats now for 12 months plus, and I didn't think I'd be there for that long, but the way that these guys are is just, it makes everyone gravitate towards them, and then obviously as more people join, it's even more gravity towards them because of the way this community member, every single member, acts both different but the same at the same time.
Right.
Like, everyone's
Right.
unique, but they're all unique in their own ways, aside from just being amazing people in general.
I was getting ready to say we're all unique, but we all share very similar morals and values, and I think that's important.
Yeah, that's very important to a successful community. So, PTA, almost midnight there.
Yeah, it is.
So I'm going to open the floor to you to give any closing statements you would like to give, and then I'm going to let you go so you can get your sleep and get out of town.
Yeah. So first and foremost, I am honored and humbled that you asked me to be your first guest. You know, I have never. I didn't come into this community. I didn't become a streamer for any kind of like recognition. I didn't. I don't do the things that I do so that people see me or you know people know who I am. I've never really cared about that, right? I just when I find something that I like, when I find something that I'm interested in, when I find something that you know I gravitate toward, I find myself going all in on whatever that thing is. And so that's kind of the biggest reason why I've tried to be as supportive as I can be to this community overall. And you know we're talking about all the streamers in this community, whether you know they're the good times or the bad times. I want to support everyone. I want to, you know, build a platform where I can give the same support that I'm getting, you know, as I am growing. So I'm thankful and I'm humbled to be a part of this community. I'm thankful that I'm humbled to be recognized. I'm so I don't even deserve, you know, some of the recognition that I'm beginning to get from some of the quote unquote bigger streamers because you know in the grand scheme of things we're all small streamers even you know like a Fendler or like a you know a Retro Yimmy, a Big Evo who are you know trending up and having hundreds of people in their chat. You know they're still technically small streamers, you know, especially when you have people like you know Dugby who's hitting a thousand, or you got like a Tim the Tatman who's got 12,000, you know, a T-Pain who's got you know thousands. You know, it really humbles me to have some of these bigger streamers, you know, pop into my chats or raid me, you know, when they don't have to, when there's other people who are on. So I'm humbled. I'm ready to get to work. You know, as a Twitch streamer, I'm still new. I'm still growing. I'm still building and developing. I've only been doing this, you know, part-time, full-time Twitch streaming for you know, almost 2 months now. And you know, I'm really enjoying this. I really love what I do. And I'm looking forward to the future. I think there's big things for all of us, and we're going to continue to grow. And eventually, we're going to take over this platform. So I can't wait for that day.
Okay.
Thank you so much for having me, and I appreciate everybody who was in the
real
chat.
quick, PTA.
Yeah.
Does chat have any closing questions for him before we let him have his last few words? I want to make sure no one has anything to ask you. So let's give him about 2 minutes. Let's see if anyone comes out with any questions, and if not, go ahead, finish your farewell address, so to speak. And we'll ship it off to... I already have a raid target. It's not anyone in the community, but it's someone that I feel like everyone in chat, maybe even including you, might actually enjoy. Wolfie to the Max, she's a VTuber. She's doing I forgot what type of game she was playing right now, but she's doing a, you know, horror game day. So I feel like that would be a nice, like, shift of tempo from what we did here.
Okay.
And she does really love raids, so she gets really into them, like moving her head around and stuff. The music she chose for is very upbeat and up tempo, so I feel like first it's gonna scare the living shit out of her because it's gonna come out of nowhere. But then she'll be like, "Oh yay, thank you," and then she'll ask me what's going on, what we were doing, and all that type of stuff. And she's much like people in this community. She's very good at keeping up with chat, except for Fendler sometimes.
I'm starting to experience that.
Sometimes gets like 30 minutes behind on chat. Okay, it happens.
Listen, I'm starting to understand though, right? Because you know I'm getting these monster raids lately, right? And there's a lot of people chatting, and I'm trying to keep up with it. It's just like it's going so fast.
Okay, I just actually thought of one more question that I was going to ask earlier, but then completely forgot about. What are your goals as a streamer to reach by the end of the year, and what are your goals as a YouTuber to reach by the end of the year?
Okay, so I actually just posted this on Twitter. I don't remember who maybe it was Problem who asked this question, is this very similar question. My goal is for Twitch by the end of the year. I want to establish myself as the face of CFM. I want to establish myself as the guy to go to for anything Madden CFM related. I posted a video where I basically was saying, hey, I need Madden Live. I need to be the Madden Live CFM guy. So that's also the goal by the end of the year is to make some absolute clear headway as to making that thing a reality. Is to get Madden Live, and then also by the end of this year, I want to be in a position where we can start talking about partner. I think I have what it takes to be a Twitch partner. I think I have what it takes to build a community up to where, a year from now, right, we have the check mark.
Yeah.
It's unrealistic. It's unrealistic for me here in August to say that by January I have the check mark. But I think it's realistic to say that 6 months from now we are starting to think about, are we getting ready to submit this application? And a year from now having that check mark. So that's my goal on Twitch. On YouTube, I don't really have a goal on YouTube. I never approach YouTube as a way to make money. I never approach YouTube as a way to get fame or notoriety. I approach YouTube as a way for me to vent about the New York Giants being bad. So, hopefully we can grow the YouTube channel, and maybe we can become a YouTube partner. That would be awesome. But I don't do any of this for money. I don't do any of this to make money. I have a full-time job that pays the bills, and if Twitch or YouTube content creation was ever a thing where I had to make a decision, it would really suck because I don't want to quit my job. It pays me well, okay?
Yeah.
And there's no way I can make what I'm making in the real world on social media unless I super blow up, and that's a thing that takes typically years to do. So.
Yeah.
But I do think
Albeit
that on
with
Twitch,
blowing up on, say, Twitch, we've seen some people make it up to that mark surprisingly fast. And I'm not talking about Fendler. The first person that comes to my mind is Fritz.
Fritzy, yes.
Fritzy took what, 6 months to do it?
Yeah, Fritzy.
The guy's built different, and he's by far one of the biggest, I feel, inspirations in this community.
Yes.
Because it's like, if he could do it in 6 months, maybe I can achieve it in general, right?
Right.
Now, real quick before I let you make your one last address here, when you talked about wanting to have that partner application, you're actually on my short list of people that I feel like will have it by this time next year. I think you, Johnny, Murphy D, and Evo will be partnered by this time next year.
I hope so. That is the goal. Is a year from now I have my check mark, and it's not so that I can make money, but it's because it means that I built a platform that I can then use to make other people. That's what I want to do. I want to use my platform and help other people grow. So by getting that check mark, it legitimizes me as a Twitch streamer, and it means that there are people here that I can influence and help get better. So that's what the goal is.
All right. Well, it was great having you. Thank you for making the time, especially the pushed back time, to be here. And I hope your trip goes really well and you enjoy your time at that Giants thingy-mabob.
Yeah, thank you very much. Again, I appreciate you having me as the first guest. That is an honor because this podcast has nowhere to go but up now.
Yeah, it's.
I
chose both a
high
high energy guy, but I also chose someone that's somewhat well known to start off. So that way, I mean, I have McMillie probably coming up Wednesday. I have the Robs coming up this weekend, and I already have some ideas of who I want my fourth guest to be. But you will probably be one of the first people to know because you're in the foundation, and I let you guys know what's going on before most other people.
Right. Well, so now what you'll have to do is you'll have to download this from. You'll have to figure out a way to download this from Twitch and then upload it onto YouTube.
Is that something I can do on the computer?
Yeah, that's what you can do that on the computer. If you go
Okay.
to you'll probably have to kind of edit this part out maybe, but if you go to your
if you have a link you can send me, or if you want you can send it to me on Twitter and have it step by step. That way we don't have this part being like another 5 minutes added onto the thing of you just explaining this.
It's real easy. I will DM it to you on Discord. It's really easy, and it literally takes a couple of minutes to do. It's very easy.
All right, man. Well, you get whatever you need done. Get some good rest, and I'll see you around the Twitch streets.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you, K-Couch. I hope that you and everyone else that hears this has a fantastic rest of your day, and I will get up with you guys later. Deuces.
All right, guys. That was PTA. He was the inaugural member of this podcast. And we would obviously have our next two guests kind of already decided without having an actual day or time quite yet. With that being said, though, we're going to go ahead and ship this off to Wolfie, the VTuber I was talking about earlier. Make sure you guys drop the Wolfpack emotes and say hello to her. If you're not following her, please do so, because she is insanely talented and definitely brings the same energy as a lot of the people in this community do. Oh, thanks for the raid, man. Sorry I'm like shipping everyone out already, but thank you for the raid, and hopefully you guys can bring the energy you were coming to me with to Wolfie too. I don't know if you guys are going to hop in on this or not, but I can tap the raid here, and so if all 7 people or at least 2 more can hop in, I'd appreciate it. But yeah, thanks for the raid though, Lag 90s Max. Hopefully next time you're able to raid me, I'll be playing a game or something and I can push out the stream a little more. But I want to make sure this is somewhat early on in this young lady's stream. So thank you guys for coming, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Oh, now it says ready to raid in fucking 9 seconds. God damn it. There you go.